Hey everyone, hope everyone has been doing well during this time of quarantine. Welcome back to another FSElite first look, and today we're going to be looking at SimToolKitPro. Let's get right in. Jumping right into it, SimToolKitPro is not just a flight logging tool, but it's also an EVGA. Starting here on the home screen, we are greeted with a map of all the current users flying, and on the right you have some stats about your own personal account, a NOTAM for future updates that are coming, and some stats for some of the networks that are across our community. So starting down in the settings and configuration, this is a place where you can change options such as your online username that everyone else sees. You can enable Discord rich presence updates, so everyone on Discord can see where you're flying and where you are at. There's a bit of explain settings as well as prepared settings for the live map. There is a Twitch bot that you can attach to your Twitch channel, and this allows the community to do commands such as routes, estimated time of arrivals, METARs, etc. There is a Swift UI mod that can be installed into the Swift, as well as module controls. Up next we have the connection monitor. This is a screen that shows the current status of your aircraft. It shows airspeed, the rate of climb, what heading you're going, an attitude indicator, your altitude, and just general information about your aircraft. If I roll the aircraft left here, you can see it rolls left. If I pitch up, you see the vertical speed shoots up, and the attitude indicator follows suit. Next, we're going to move up to the streaming output. Here is where you could have an overlay on your OBS showing stats about your flight, such as the speed, ETA, altitude, etc. It's a simple URL that you paste into your OBS, and it will display it and have very rapid updates as well. Next above that is an always on top switch, which if you check it will always keep SimToolKitPro on top of whatever you have open. Now moving up to the first tab of the SimToolKitPro main features, there is a tools menu, and the first thing in here is checklists. Moving into here, you can select a couple different aircraft that are loaded by default, such as the Rotate MD-80, Flight Sim Labs A320, Z97, and a couple of other aircraft. All the checklists are loaded in for the loaded aircraft, and you could also create your own new checklists. You can also pop out the checklist to have in its own smaller tab if this main screen is too big for you. Next is the wind calculator. Input any airport. We're going to start with San Jose. Put in a runway, and it will pull the METAR from that airport and give you a crosswind component. At this airport, the wind is variable at 5 knots, so it's impossible to give a proper crosswind component, but if we punch in our own values, say 101 at 5, now we have a crosswind component of 3 knots from the right. Next is the approach tool. If we input an airport and then select a runway, it can position your aircraft on that final approach that you set up. This currently only works with X-Plane 11 and the Z97-800. Moving on, the next tool is the airport database. You can input any airport. Now we're going to change to JFK. And this will give you information about the airport, different frequencies, and runway lengths. Moving up next is the Network Explorer. Here you can look at all the different active flights and connections on VATSIM, FlightSim Cloud, IVAO, and Pilot Edge. And then the last one in the menu tools is the data importer. You can manually input your flights that you have possibly filled out on your own. You can import from fshub.io, or you can request your data to be exported from Project Fly, and then you can import that data through a single folder into SimToolKitPro. Next is the Your Data menu, and starting off with your fleet. In here is where you manage the aircraft that you have in your fleet. You can add custom aircraft, update the stats of where your aircraft are, and manage the fleet and airframes. In the Manage Fleet Airframes, this is where you can scan your different sims for aircraft. So if we go to Discover P30 and scan it, it'll bring up every aircraft that I have installed and prepared, and you can add your aircraft just like that. Next is the logbook. Here you can view all your past flights and will show you all the routes that you have done here on the right with a map, as well as your total flights, hours, distance flown, as well as your most visited airport. The logbook here on the left will show you just a little bit of data about the flights, but if you click on one, then you can go into that and view details about that flight. Next up is the Your Schedules tab. In here, you can create scheduled flights and also look up real-world flights. You can simply input a departure airport and will show all the flights that are departing out of that airport. If you input a destination airport as well, it'll then bring up all the flights between those two airports. Next up is landing reports. In here, we'll show you all your different landing rates that you have accumulated over your past landings. In here, it will show all the aircraft you were flying, the airport you landed at, runway, as well as the landing rate and speed. And if you click on View Report, it'll give you more information about that landing. Lastly is the logbook editor. This is where you can go to edit the flights that you have previously logged if you find that there's an error that you need to change. Next, we're going to be moving up to the flight planner. This is where you can start flights that you plan to fly. So if we start by creating a new flight, you can input a departure, destination, aircraft type, and your flight number, and then it will contact SimBrief if you have that connected and generate a flight plan for you. If you prefer using SimBrief on its own, you can load a flight on SimBrief and then click this button, Load Latest SimBrief Flight. This will go ahead and grab whatever you've last made on SimBrief and bring it into the tool. Lastly, you can load any pasted flight. If you just want to fly from airport to airport direct, just put the two airports in and hit load the flight, and it will draw a line between the two airports. Since this is a flight I actually plan on doing, I'm going to go ahead and select my aircraft, which is an Atlas Air 747. We are going to be flying on VATSIM today. And since this is all correct, I'm going to go ahead and click Fly Now. And we are going to then connect SimToolKitPro to Prepared. That will bring us back to the menu, but now we have a new tab that just showed up. We click on Current Flight Summary. This will bring up the current flight that we are about to do, as well as show the fuel and payload that we plan to use, some information about the airports, and we'll bring in the OFP from SimBrief for you to scroll through. Wind data is also brought in. A scratch pad is available for you to type stuff out, as well as route waypoints. Now that we have a flight active, let's move over to the live map. You can see down here in South America is where the flight is currently active. We're on the ground, there's a bit of weather around us, but it shows the entire flight plan on the map. Now if we scroll all the way into the airport that we are at, it will bring up taxi routes. You can use this to, if you're at a complex airport, say for example like Amsterdam, you can add waypoints that you can follow, and this live map will update fairly often to show you where you are, and so you can taxi and follow this route so you don't accidentally make a wrong turn. If you finish, then it'll just stay there until you clear it. Scrolling out more, we can see everyone that is currently online, the tool, as well. If we click on them, we can see who they are and what they're flying and where they are going. We can also turn on different network overlays such as VATSIM, IVAO, Pilot Edge, and FS Cloud. If we scroll enough on a certain area and we turn on VORs and NDBs, it will show you all the navigation fixes that are in that area, and you can click on them for information. You can select the live map to follow you and auto zoom. And in the settings, you can select what range rings you would like, and those will be around your airplane so you can see how far you are from certain areas of the world. You can turn weather precipitation on and off. And in the options, you can change the theme of the map, the colors of all the different networks, the size of the fonts. The last tab here is where you can input the sceneries that you have installed. With P3D, I just put in a few airports that I have, and if I turn on P3D, it'll show what airports I have scenery installed for. You can also minimize this toolbar, bring it back out, and if you press on the mini switch, you can also make the map more full screen. The last thing I wanted to show off is possibly my favorite feature about this. In the bottom right here, you can see something that says Navigraph, and if I click on that, it'll bring up the Navigraph Charts app. This is not also a baby down version of the Navigraph Charts app. This is the full Navigraph Charts app. If I can search up different airports here and bring up all the charts for that airport, and it works just like the desktop app if you have it downloaded. Also in the bottom right is a little gear with the tab options. Here you can put any sort of URL in here, and so let's say I want to put SkyVector. I'll type in SkyVector and I'm going to go grab the SkyVector link. Then I'm going to paste that in there, enable it, and okay. Now I can bring out SkyVector, and it's just SkyVector, just like on the website. It's worth mentioning as well that SimToolKitPro is in beta, but gets constant updates, and the next big update is coming soon. That's gonna wrap it up for this first look of SimToolKitPro. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. That's gonna wrap it up for this first look of SimToolKitPro. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe and the bell to be notified for our next video. Hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time.